All right, let's dive into the world of cryptocurrency and blockchain. Seems like it's everywhere you turn these days.
Yeah, it's definitely become a hot topic, but honestly, I think a lot of people are still scratching their heads trying to figure out what it all really means.
That's exactly why we're here, to cut through the hype and break down the basics. What is cryptocurrency? What's blockchain all about? And how do these two things work together?
Those are the key questions, because once you understand these fundamentals, you can start to see how this technology has the potential to impact, well, pretty much everything.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly is cryptocurrency? I mean, we all know it's digital currency, but what makes it different from, say, using Apple Pay or PayPal?
The big difference is decentralization. With traditional currencies, you've got central banks calling the shots, they control the supply, they set the rules, but cryptocurrency, it operates on a network of computers.
So instead of a bank or a government controlling everything, it's more like a peer-to-peer system.
Exactly. No single entity has control. And that's what makes it so disruptive, but also what makes it secure.
Secure?
How so? Because cryptocurrency transactions are recorded on a blockchain.
Blockchain. I knew that word would come up. Honestly, though, every time I hear blockchain, my brain kind of freezes up. Can you help us unpack that a bit? What is it really?
Imagine a chain of blocks, right? And each block contains a bunch of transactions. Each block is linked to the one before it, and it's all secured using cryptography.
Okay, so it's like a public record of every transaction, but it's incredibly secure because of how these blocks are linked together.
Exactly. It's incredibly difficult to tamper with because any change would disrupt the whole chain. Plus, since this ledger is distributed across a whole network of computers, there's no single point of failure.
So even if one computer crashes, the blockchain stays intact. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got cryptocurrency, digital money, and we've got blockchain, this super secure, decentralized ledger. How do they actually work together?
Well, every cryptocurrency transaction is recorded on the blockchain, and that's what provides the transparency because anyone can see the transaction history. It also guarantees the security because of that cryptographic linking we talked about.
So blockchain is like the infrastructure that makes cryptocurrency possible. It's the system that underpins it all.
That's a great way to put it. It creates a secure, transparent system where people can interact directly with each other. No need for a middleman like a bank.
That's the thing that I still find kind of mind-blowing. The technology itself creates the trust, not some big institution.
Yeah.
You mentioned that these blocks on the blockchain contain transaction data. What else goes into one of these blocks?
Each block includes a timestamp, so we know exactly when it was created, and it has a unique hash, kind of like a digital fingerprint.
Yeah.
And of course, the link to the previous block, which is what makes that tamper-proof chain.
Got it. So it's all linked together. If someone tried to mess with a transaction in an older block, it would break the chain, right? It would be obvious that something was wrong.
Exactly. That's a big part of what makes blockchain so secure. Okay, but here's another question. Who gets to decide which transactions go into a block? And in what order? It can't be totally random, right? You're right, it's not random at all. That's where consensus mechanisms come in. This is how the network agrees on which blocks are valid and which ones get added to the chain.
So consensus mechanisms, that's like the rule book. It determines how the whole network comes to an agreement.
You got it. There are different types of consensus mechanisms out there, each with its own way of doing things. Two of the most common ones you'll hear about are proof of work, or POW, and proof of stake, or POS.
I've definitely heard those terms thrown around a lot. What are the key differences between them, and why should we care which one a blockchain uses?
Well, proof of work is kind of like a giant computational puzzle competition. Imagine a bunch of miners with powerful computers all racing to solve a complex math problem. The first one to solve it gets to add the next block to the blockchain.
So it's like a race with a reward for the winner. I've also heard that proof of work can be pretty energy intensive. Is that because of all those computers churning away trying to solve the puzzle?
You nailed it. All that computing power requires a ton of energy, which is definitely something that critics of proof of work bring up. They argue that it's not sustainable in the long run.
Okay, so proof of work is secure, but it's also a bit of an energy hog. What about proof of stake? How does that one work?
Proof of stake is a different approach. Instead of miners competing to solve puzzles, validators are chosen based on how much cryptocurrency they stake. Basically, how much they lock up as collateral.
So the more you stake, the higher your chances of being chosen to add a block and earn rewards.
Yep, that's the basic idea. And it's definitely a lot less energy intensive than proof of work. But there's a potential trade-off. Some people worry that proof of stake could lead to more centralization, where those who hold the most cryptocurrency have more control over the network.
So it's all about trade-offs. It's not just about picking one consensus mechanism over another, but understanding the implications of each choice.
Exactly. It's about finding the right balance between security, efficiency, and keeping things decentralized. And these choices have a big impact on how a blockchain works and how it evolves over time.
Okay, so we've been talking about cryptocurrency and blockchain, but it sounds like there's a lot more to it than just digital currency.
Oh yeah, definitely. Blockchain technology has the potential to be a game changer in so many different areas. It's not just about money.
I've heard about things like smart contracts and decentralized applications, or dApps for short, but I'm not really sure what those are all about.
Right, so smart contracts, think of them as self-executing contracts. Basically, the terms of the agreement are written in code and they automatically enforce themselves.
So instead of needing lawyers and banks and all that paperwork to make sure a contract is followed, the code itself takes care of it.
Exactly, and that can streamline a ton of processes, like imagine a lending platform, right? But it's all decentralized, built on a blockchain. The smart contract could automatically release the funds to the borrower once certain conditions are met, like verifying their income or collateral,
Wow, so no more waiting around for weeks while the bank processes your loan application, and it all happens securely and transparently on the blockchain, right?
You got it. It's less prone to fraud, too, because everything is out in the open. Okay, so we've got smart contracts, automating agreements. What about those dApps? What are they and how do they fit into this whole ecosystem?
Yeah, remind me again about those dApps.
dApps are basically the applications that are built on top of blockchain platforms. They take advantage of all the cool things about blockchain, the decentralization, the security, the transparency to create new ways of doing business and interacting with each other.
Can you give us some concrete examples of what these dApps can actually do?
Sure. So we've already touched on DeFi or decentralized finance. That's one area where dApps are really shaking things up.
DeFi, right? Decentralized finance.
Yeah.
So basically, it's taking all those financial services that we're used to, but putting them on the blockchain.
Exactly. Lending, borrowing, trading, even insurance. All without the need for those traditional middlemen like banks.
It sounds like it has the potential to make financial services much more accessible, maybe even more equitable.
That's the goal. It's about giving individuals more control over their own finances.
That's pretty revolutionary.
Yeah.
I mean, are there other areas where dApps are being used?
Oh, definitely. Supply chain management is another big one. You can use dApps to track goods as they move through the supply chain from the very beginning to the end.
So no more shady dealings going on behind the scenes, no more products mysteriously disappearing along the way.
Right. Because every step of the process is recorded on the blockchain, it's much harder for someone to cheat the system or manipulate the data.
Man, the possibilities are really mind-boggling. It seems like blockchain and dApps could change pretty much every industry out there.
They have that potential, yeah. We're really just scratching the surface of what's possible, too. As more developers and entrepreneurs start experimenting with these technologies, we're going to see even more creative and innovative uses for them.
I can't wait to see what the future holds for blockchain and dApps. It feels like we're witnessing the birth of something truly groundbreaking.
I think so, too. But it's important to remember that it's still very early days. There are still challenges to overcome, like figuring out how to scale these technologies and navigating all the regulatory uncertainties.
Right, it's not all sunshine and roses, but the potential benefits are so huge that it's hard not to get excited about it.
For sure. The potential is enormous, and that's what makes this whole space so fascinating to follow.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of serious ground here. But before we wrap things up, we have to talk about another side of the crypto world.
You mean the side that's a bit more, shall we say, unconventional?
Exactly. We got to talk about meme coins.
Ah, yes. The internet-fueled tokens that often seem to defy all logic and sometimes even gravity itself.
They're usually based on jokes or memes, but they've gained real-world value, sometimes even reaching astronomical heights. How is that even possible?
It's definitely a unique phenomenon, and I think it speaks to the power of online communities. You've got social media hype, you've got this shared sense of fun and speculation.
So it's more about the memes and the community than any underlying technology or real-world use case.
In many cases, yeah. Meme coins usually don't have that same level of technological innovation or practical applications that you see with more established cryptocurrencies.
But people are still buying them, and some of them are making a killing. Why? What's the appeal?
I think there are a few things going on. For some people, it's just a fun way to get involved in the crypto world. For others, it's the community aspect. They like being part of something that feels new and exciting.
It's like joining a club with a secret handshake, except the handshake is a digital token with a funny picture on it.
And of course, there's the speculative element. People see others making money, and they want to get in on the action, hoping that the price will keep going up.
It's a digital gold rush, but fueled by memes and Twitter threads.
You could say that. Meme coins definitely represent a very different side of the crypto world, but it's a significant one, and it shows how powerful online communities can be. They can drive real-world value, even if it's based on something as simple as an internet joke.
It really blurs the lines between online culture and finance in a way that I don't think anyone could have predicted.
It does, and it highlights how important it is to understand the psychology of markets and the influence of online communities.
But meme coins can also be pretty risky, right? I mean, I've heard horror stories of people losing their shirts chasing these volatile tokens.
Absolutely. Meme coins are highly speculative. Their prices can swing wildly from one day to the next. You could make a fortune, or you could lose everything.
So the classic advice applies. Do your research, understand the risks, and don't invest more than you can afford to lose.
Exactly. It's essential to approach meme coins with a healthy dose of caution and skepticism.
They're a wild ride, that's for sure. Meme coins are just another reminder that the crypto world is full of surprises. Some good, some not so good.
Yeah, it's a space that keeps you on your toes. It emphasizes the need for critical thinking, thorough research, and always, always a bit of healthy skepticism.
Wow, we've really covered a lot of ground here. Cryptocurrency, blockchain, smart contracts, even meme coins. It's a lot to take in, but one thing's for sure. This stuff is changing the world as we know it.
Yeah, it's incredible to see how rapidly this technology is evolving and how it's already starting to impact so many different aspects of our lives.
It's exciting, but it can also feel kind of overwhelming, you know? Like if someone wanted to get started with crypto, where would they even begin? It's like, okay, I get the basics now, but what do I actually do?
Well, the first step is always education, right? The more you learn, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this space. There are tons of resources available online, articles, videos, podcasts like ours.
Right. But beyond just learning about it, what are some concrete steps someone could take to actually get involved in the crypto world?
One of the first things you'll need is a cryptocurrency wallet. That's where you'll store your digital assets.
So a wallet is basically like your bank account, but for crypto.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. There are different types of wallets, each with its own pros and cons.
What are some of the options? And how do you choose the right one?
Hardware wallets are considered the most secure option. They store your private keys offline on a physical device, so it's much harder for hackers to get to them.
It's like keeping your crypto in a safe deposit box.
Exactly. But they can be a bit less convenient for everyday transactions. If you're looking for something that's easier to use on a daily basis, you might consider a software wallet.
Ah, so it's a trade-off between security and convenience.
Yeah.
Okay, what about actually buying, selling crypto? Where does that happen?
That's where cryptocurrency exchanges come in. These are platforms where you can buy, sell, and trade all sorts of different cryptocurrencies.
So it's like the stock market, but for crypto.
Kind of, yeah. You've got centralized exchanges, which are more like traditional brokerage platforms, and you've got decentralized exchanges, which operate on blockchain technology and allow for more peer-to-peer trading.
Man, so many choices. It can be a lot to figure out. Any advice for someone who's just dipping their toes into the crypto waters?
I'd say the most important thing is to do your research. Don't just jump in blindly. Compare different wallets, compare different exchanges, look at their fees, their security measures, read user reviews.
Don't just go with the first one you find.
Right, and the same goes for choosing which cryptocurrencies to invest in. There are literally thousands of them out there.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that. So it's not just about picking the one with the coolest name or the flashiest website.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Think of it like any other investment. Do your due diligence, understand the technology, the team behind it, the potential use cases, and always, always remember, never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Words to live by. Any other parting words of wisdom for our listeners who might be feeling that crypto itch?
Don't be afraid to reach out and connect with the crypto community. There are online forums, social media groups, even in-person meetups where you can chat with other crypto enthusiasts, ask questions, share ideas.
It's like a global club of people who are all excited about exploring this new frontier of finance and technology.
Exactly. And as with any frontier, there are risks and there are challenges, but there's also incredible potential for learning, growth, and maybe even shaping the future.
That's what makes it so exciting. So, to all our listeners out there, if you're feeling curious, Don't hesitate, dive in, explore, and embrace the adventure.
The journey is just as rewarding as the destination.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of cryptocurrency and blockchain. We'll see you next time.